Hello, JDIC members. This is your JDIC tech set of videos to answer questions from our last call in August. So first category is autoresponders, and Elaine asks, what do you think of GetResponse? And I've heard of GetResponse, but it doesn't seem to be a fully integrated shopping cart system, sort of like Aweber. Like maybe it's really good at email marketing, but you're not going to have the other components, from what I can tell, of being able to collect money and track affiliate activity and so on. So based on my short visit to the site and from what I understand, I don't think it's something you'd want to pursue just because it's not a fully integrated shopping cart system. Also, I have no clients who use GetResponse, which is always kind of a warning flag to me that maybe this is not an ideal system for someone sort of in our area, in our playground. But certainly, I mean, you can make a lot of these things work. If you already have GetResponse and already have names and emails in there, then it may be easier just to sort of establish that and work around it. So maybe keep the GetResponse and then add other items to it to make everything work. But if you're evaluating it and not sure whether to get it or not, I'd recommend a fully integrated shopping cart system like One Shopping Cart. Okay, Sue says, I need to take a bunch of plugins off my WordPress blog. Is this too difficult for me, or could I safely take them off? Well, first of all, you know, sometimes when you're troubleshooting a WordPress blog, removing plugins can help. Like sometimes plugins will conflict with each other or conflict with something else or your theme or blah, blah, blah. So sometimes removing plugins is a good idea, especially if you're not using them. You can deactivate plugins and you can delete plugins. So your first step might be simply to deactivate them and see if that helps. You might also consider updating your plugins and updating your WordPress installation, and maybe everything would work after updating. So let me keep reading the question. I've been told I have too many. Okay, as long as that's true, then yeah, you'll want to probably deactivate and probably delete the ones you're not using. So yeah, as I said, plugins can conflict with each other. Removing plugins is typically pretty easy, but I'd really recommend you back up your website first. And there are actually plugins. I know you're trying to get away from plugins, but there are plugins that will back up your site. And usually just a search within WordPress for backup WordPress or backup, yeah, probably I would just go to the plugins area within your WordPress site and search for backup WordPress. What you want to make sure, though, is that it backs up the files plus the database. There are really two areas of WordPress. The files are, you know, all the graphics and everything that kind of makes WordPress have the structure it does, but then there's the database, which contains the stuff you put into WordPress, sort of like a big spreadsheet that has everything you've ever put in there, all your information, all your entries, all your HTML for your web pages, and so on. You actually need both of these. So you need the files and the database backed up. So just make sure you choose a WordPress plugin that'll do both. And probably the top few results that come up when you search for backup WordPress within your plugins are going to have that. But just make sure. So once you back it up, you want to make a note of the plugin that you used for the backup in case things go horribly wrong. Then you can use that plugin again to reinstall your WordPress. You may also want to just get someone who's real technically savvy to sit with you the first time you do all this, just in case anything goes wrong. I'm always a little nervous when telling people to delete plugins or update their WordPress just because so many things could go wrong. But I do know that the #1 thing you can do to protect yourself is to back up your files and database. And then in the worst case scenario, you could even hire some techie person to reinstall your website because you'd have it all there. So please back up first, and then probably try just disabling your plugins and see if your website performs. And if it does, great. You know, you can actually turn plugins on and off and figure out which one is causing the problem. Sometimes it's just one. And certainly if you're not using your plugins, you may as well remove them. There's no need for them. Okay, so this wraps up the autoresponder series, and I just realized that plugins aren't really autoresponders, but hey, why not? I guess that fits really in other web pages. But hope you enjoyed this video, and in the next video we'll talk about shopping carts.